for coming. We have a great turnout. We've already raised $500 for Food Justice DMV. If you haven't donated and you would like to, there's information on the bottom of the program if you were lucky enough to get a program. So I know I didn't print it out. And we're going to start with Handel Sonata in F major. I gotta find my we're going to be featuring some chamber music today. Some of these kids have been playing since they were really, really little, and we've been starting to play different parts together and different harmonies, and you can learn a lot about teamwork and communication skills. So this is really, it's a really tricky thing to do, so what you're going to see from these kids today is extremely impressive, and some of them may even make it look easy. So, anyway. Just so you know, I'm impressed. Get ready to be impressed. their time and brought some of their students. Let's give them a big round of applause.
the charm, and clearly the charm is oozing out of this room. I expect cuteness. I did not expect incredible talent, and I am blown away. Thank you for gracing our organization with this extraordinary support, not only of music, but of funds, because if you haven't been living under a rock, you know now that Food Justice DMV is facing incredible hatred and violence in the world. And so what we do has always been important, and now it is even more essential. I want to start, though, by sharing a little bit of our birth story. It's happened during the COVID crisis. I had been accompanying people to court hearings to avoid being deported. And during one 7-hour journey, Oscar told me that he had to take a cab one time, and it cost him $150 to get there, and when he got home, he had no food to give his child. This struck like an arrow in my heart. How can someone not have food? And overnight, when COVID hit, we decided to transition from accompaniment hotline to food hotline, envisioning supporting about 200 families for a brief shining moment. Well, fate laughed. A word got out, and almost overnight, we went from 200 to 600 to 900 to 1,200 till now we support more than 12,000 migrant families with 3 weekly distributions. If you use your imagination, every Saturday, right back there, there's beans and rice flying, and bottles of oil, and maseca. We've always only delivered and centered the voices of the families in our leadership and everything we do. We custom create culturally responsible and eco-planet responsible food because the climate crisis is at the center of why the migrant global diaspora is happening. So we have amazing volunteers at this distribution on Saturday to deliver to approximately 100 families custom-made bags of diapers, formula, wipes, and sanitary pads. It's extraordinary. Tuesday in Virginia, that's what we do as well there. It's the same model. And then Thursday, we have 40 incredible impacted community leaders who deliver to approximately 2,100 families monthly. We have always centered their voices in our leadership and how we do things. They design our distributions, and they are extraordinarily courageous and talented and brave people. In fact, every migrant who has come here has this journey has shaped their leadership and how they live in this world. I sit at their feet every day in awe of their courage. And now the crisis in this world of hatred and violence and unlawfulness is shaping our next chapter. We now need volunteers who can step up, because a food delivery can keep someone from being deported, it keeps them from leaving their home, and it's only going to get worse. We also provide Know Your Rights cards in every distribution of food and diapers. We support more than 2,000 babies. And so anything you can do can make a difference. We would love to have you join our delivery team Saturday or Tuesday. Come to our Thursday distribution. It's a lot of heavy lifting. We have 10 pallets of reclaimed produce that we load vehicles with, and they go off to demolish food deserts. So thank you so much for being a part of this day. It's been an honor to be with you all, to hear this beautiful music, and to thank Anne, finally, for all she does for this organization. Thank you so much. Bishop Buddy, right after this president was elected at National Cathedral Church, there's a woman who graciously called for mercy and compassion from the president, and she got death threats and was asked for an apology because she asked for mercy and compassion. We're having our 5th birthday celebration, and she will be our featured speaker. We're going to have an evocative and rare conversation, unscripted. She's just come back from a speaking tour in France and Germany, and she's going to share that with us at Sidwell Friends School, May 17th from 3 to 5. We would love to have you join us, and I'm hoping Anne will share that information with you. Thank you.
Okay, so just to show you how far some of these kids have come, our next piece is Pop Goes the Weasel.
It's very, very difficult.
This is one of the most difficult, yes, Sebastian, one of the most difficult pieces. I'm going to have the other teachers come up and help me, actually. So we need our, where's our quartet? Oh, it's a trio, it's a trio. Yes, yes. Here it is. If you've never been to a Suzuki group concert, this is what happens. We all play the pieces together. And we spend half the time trying to make rows. I can see everybody. All right. Well, let's take a big bow all together. Thunderous applause. magic circle around all of these chairs. So if you're playing the violin,
Come on, parents. You've been sitting for a while. Let's do it. Yeah. That's all right. I'm going to teach you now. The tune that we're doing today is Old Joe Clarke, an American fiddle tune from the 19th century, which was originally about a Kentucky mountaineer that we murdered, but I forget that part. Extremely popular American fiddle tune from the 19th century, came big during World War I, called Old Joe Clarke. So we're going to teach you guys the circle dance. Circle dances were really popular. There's many different versions, but this is our favorite. So we just want to make sure that no one's going to trip or run into anybody. So what we do in group class to make sure that we're standing far enough apart is we take our bow hand with your right hand and just go like this. And if you hit someone, you're too close. Go with the front out. Great. Yeah, this is a big circle. We'll make it work. Okay, so to get started, we got to make sure we're all feeling the same internal pulse, right? So I have a favorite way of doing that. All together. Horse, put his foot on the floor. Horse, put his foot on the floor. Next verse, same as the first. Horse, put his foot, keep going. We're going to walk this way around the circle. Ready, go.
sing.
We got one. Okay. Oh, let's thank Tanya on the ukulele. Smush.